It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with how Sebastian Vettel went from the most hated to the most loved driver in F1. Is he the most loved driver in F1? Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Sebastian, what we got?
Usually when I talk about drivers on my channel, especially if they are more retrospective type videos talking about a driver's career or how good they were, I base my videos mostly on their performance and achievements.
Sorry about that, guys.
This video, however, will be a bit of a departure from my usual content because instead of focusing on a driver's achievements, I'm going to be doing more of a character study video looking at Sebastian Vettel. Now, Seb is easily my favorite driver to cover on a video because he has had not only such an amazing career, but as a person, he is so complex and just amazing to analyze because fundamentally he has got so many layers to both his character and career as well. So, in this video, I'm going to be looking into the more emotional aspect of Formula 1, both from the drivers and fans' side, by asking how did Sebastian Vettel go from the most hated driver on the grid to the most loved driver in Formula 1? Hey guys, what?
Nah, Vettel do seem like a dope dude. Like, while I'm watching the F1 show on Netflix, bro, I do rock with Sebastian Vettel, bro. Like he's real cool, real dope, real funny guy. And he just, I mean, they all love driving, but like, you can just definitely see that he loves F1.
What's going on? My name is Aldas, and before we do get into the video, don't forget, if you do enjoy the content on my channel, then don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button to support the channel, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But guys, let's get into this one. Now, I think it's very important to say right off the bat that during the Red Bull era, Vettel was not only hated by the fans, but also some of his fellow drivers as well. But why was this? Well, the easiest place to start is that he was a serial winner. Now, I've already made an in-depth video looking into just how good Vettel was in his Red Bull days, so if you want to go and check it out, then I'll have it linked below. But even in that video, I mentioned how Vettel's dominant success had started to annoy many of the fans. However, it wasn't just that he was winning, it was the way he was doing it. Seb was...
I feel like in most things in life, right? Everybody loves you when you're on your journey to being the greatest. Everybody's rooting for you. Everybody's behind you. They want to see you get there. But when you're on top, it seems like everybody wants to see you fall. And it's like, y'all was all just rooting for me to get here, and I made it now. Now y'all want to see me fall? They're rooting for the next guy to take your spot. Come on. All right, talk to me.
Never the best overtaker, even admitting it in an interview back in 2011. However, his raw pace on a Saturday has always been incredible. So often at Red Bull, his team would actually set him up for pole position, and in the race, once he was leading and out of DRS range, that was exactly how the race would finish, dominating from start to finish, not even giving a sniff of the race win to any of the other drivers, which annoyed many of the fans and also some of the other drivers as well because of just how he would dominate races driving those amazing Red Bulls that were totally suited to his style. And then of course at the end of every race, Sebastian would do his famous finger celebration where he would show that famous finger after winning or taking pole position. In a way, it was almost a taunt to the fans and also the other drivers as well, to show everyone that he was the top dog in Formula 1. All of this...
What is he supposed to do? What would people... There's no way he was hated for this, bro. A little showmanship, a little taunting never hurts anyone, right? I'm number one. He was number one. He was backing it. It's not like he wasn't backing it up. He was number one. He's excited, right? He worked his entire life to be the best. This is the path he went on his entire life, blood, sweat, and tears to get to that position. And people are going to be mad at him and hate him for enjoying it? For a little taunt? He got the time for being excited that he is the best? Come on. Come on.
The dominance and the way he was winning the races and the celebration that was just almost sending a message to the sport, along with the fact that there was no doubt that Seb definitely had an element of arrogance to go alongside his supreme confidence, led to many fans not just disliking him as a driver, but hating him enough to boo him both outside of the races and even on the podiums.
All the great drivers are going to have some form of arrogance. It makes you great. I've noticed, like, watching the show, like, everybody, you have to have, I feel like, some form of arrogance to win. And some people, your fans are going to see it as confidence. The people that hate you are going to see it as arrogance.
He just wasn't a popular winner with both the fans, the drivers, and even the media. To be honest, actually watching it at the time from my perspective when I started watching Formula 1 was actually really hard because I never got the Vettel hate, and in my opinion, no driver deserves to be booed if they've driven their heart out and delivered a sublime performance for their team.
Thank you. That's crazy.
Boss called it faultless, bar the lockup, and yet still some of the fans booed you. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's we are in Italy, you know, I'm dressed in blue.
Yeah, but it's happened in Canada and Silverstone now. It's a bit of a theme developing.
It's extreme here, so...
And I know you're making light of it now, but you are only human. Booing must get you at some point, mustn't it?
Well, I mean, maybe the people don't like to see the same team or the same driver on the podium.
You're up here on the podium with you. Please don't do that. That's not correct.
They're on a tour, you know, they go around with a bus.
Not only was he hated by many of the fans,
I feel like, yeah, it does suck for people to boo you, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to stop my guy from winning. And, you know what I mean? So, as long as, hey, I'd be like, boo me all you want. As long as I keep winning, I'll take all the hate. You feel me? Give it all to me. I don't care about that. But from a human standpoint, I do. I mean, like she said, nobody just, like, wants to be booed. Nobody wants to be hated. But freak it. If y'all gonna hate me for winning, then that's cool. That ain't gonna stop me from winning.
but he was also not particularly liked by his fellow drivers as well, which almost added just more fuel to the fire. The dislike from the other drivers were twofold. On one side, you had his teammate Mark Webber. Now, Mark always felt like Vettel was getting preferential treatment at Red Bull and also didn't like his cockiness and unapologetic character. And there's no doubt that from one side, yes, Sebastian Vettel, especially in his early days, was extremely arrogant and his character did sometimes bring in a lot of negativity. The fact that he could never actually admit that he was in the wrong, and it did kind of rub some of the fans and also some of the media the wrong way. Now, at the time, there was also plenty of evidence that showed that Seb was favoured by the team as well, like the front wing incident at Silverstone in 2010, after which Mark Webber famously delivered the radio message, "Not bad for a number 2 driver."
Well done, Mark, you drove very well today, great job. You won the British Grand Prix, well done.
Fantastic, guys, not bad for a number 2 driver, cheers.
And, saying not bad for a number 2 driver. It's a very clear message.
Then the famous...
I like that, Mark. I like that. And yeah, they be acting like they treat both drivers equal. They be trying. It's on the show too. I've seen like these teams try to show that they treat both drivers equal, and there's a number 1 driver, there's a number 2 driver. There's always one of the drivers that's getting preferential treatment. My guy Christian Horner on the show, they said, "Who's your favorite driver?" He said, "Whoever's winning for Red Bull." Like, and I felt that. Whoever's winning. That's who gonna get the preferential treatment. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's who my favorite driver is. I felt that. That's pure honesty. And I rock with it. Of course, you know what I'm saying?
2010 Turkey collision between the two teammates, which although everyone saw was Seb's fault for moving across dangerously, Seb never admitted any guilt and again seemed arrogant and unapologetic, which never went down well with either Mark or the other drivers as well.
Obviously at that time I was the leading car, so usually the leader then dictates where to go.
And how can we forget the famous multi-21 incident at Malaysia in 2013, which almost more than anything else put Seb in the firing line for criticism from both the media, his fellow drivers and the fans as well, with Mark again showing his frustration at how the team dealt with Vettel not following team orders.
After this last stop, obviously the team told me that the race was over, and we turned the engines down, and now we go to the end. In the end, Seb made his own decisions today, and we'll have protection as usual, and that's the way it goes.
Dang.
But it wasn't just his team.
Dang. Mark was straight up with him. Mark was like, I'm going to tell y'all exactly how it is. Like, I'm getting, they giving them preferential treatment. Basically.
Made that dislike Seb. On the other side, we had the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, and Fernando Alonso. Now, as far as Jenson and Lewis, they never said anything directly hateful, but you could just tell with some of the passive-aggressive comments and also the slight digs at Seb as well. For example, Jenson Button came out and said that Vettel was too accident-prone, and then Lewis Hamilton, quite ironically, given what's happened since, dubbed Vettel's dominance as boring and bad for Formula One.
I swear to God, that's definitely ironic, bro. My boy, what did he win? Like 5 or 6 championships in a row? Something like that. I know he got 7 in all, but it was like 4, 5, or 6 in a row, which is insane. That's pure greatness. I can't hate on somebody for pure greatness. Dominance, I've said it in multiple videos, like this season with Max Verstappen, like, don't get me, I enjoy watching Max just completely dominate and completely just be great. Never hate on anyone's greatness. But I would love, as a fan, I would love to see, like, a competition. I would love to see somebody challenge him. I would love to see a driver championship going down to, right, the last couple races of the season, right? It builds suspense. It's like, when someone's dominant, I respect it, I enjoy it, but when someone has a rivalry, I don't know, it just makes sports that much better for me. When someone has a true rival out there. But, yeah, dominance, I don't think it's as fun as rivalries, as competitive as going down to the wire. If you're a fan of a certain team or a certain guy, you want them to dominate, but, like, there's nothing like being a fan and you don't know if they're gonna win and it's going down to the wire, your heart's racing and you're excited but you're scared at the same time, and when your guy pulls it off, it's amazing.
Fernando in particular was never shy to throw the odd comment towards Vettel, even questioning the legitimacy of his championships and what he would do without the dominant cars of Adrian Newey.
Callum Prost, who also has 4 titles. Sebastian Vettel has won his 4 consecutive titles at the same time before Alain had even won his first Grand Prix. But do you put Sebastian into the same category as Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna?
I don't know, time will tell us when he will have a car like the others. If he wins, he will be one of the legends in Formula One. When one day he has a car like the others and he's 4th, 5th, 7th, these 4 titles will be bad news for him, because people will take these 4 titles even in a worse manner than what they are doing now. So there are interesting times for Sebastian coming.
See, and I think that's my biggest thing is I wish like that everyone like had the same budget. Don't get me wrong, I understand that it's not feasible, and one team's gonna win, and when you win, you get more sponsorships. Sponsorships bring you more money, you get more deals, you get more, you know what I'm saying? And so you should be able to use that. So, you know what I'm saying? You should be able to use that. But I'll just be intrigued to see what everybody look like in the same machinery. Like, then I feel like you get to see who the best driver is, because I feel like too many times people get to use the excuse of they're just in the best car. They just have the best car. And it's like, bro, like, they're consistently coming number 1. I understand they have the best car, but, like, you got to give them their props and give them their respect, bro. Because you got to be a great driver in that best car. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, sometimes I just wish I could see everybody in the same car or everybody with the same budget and then see what happens.
I think for the fans and drivers, the multi-21 incident was just the absolute tipping point. He had been the villain, he had gone against the team, and then to have the season that he had in 2013 being a record-breaking season and going on to dominate the championship again, it all just came crashing down. So as far as the Vettel hate, I'm not going to go out and say that it was totally undeserved, because at times Seb did show a lack of class and accountability, something that you can't really say about Lewis Hamilton in his era of dominance. But if I'm being really honest,
Lewis, Lewis don't really show, like, I've not seen too many bad moments of from Lewis Hamilton, like clips on YouTube or clips from the show. Like, he just genuinely seems like a good guy who I don't know. You just can't really find too much bad about him. Maybe there is, and I just haven't looked into it. But I genuinely can't find anything bad about the guy.
I absolutely loved it. Seb was so good that it almost seemed like he thrived being the villain in Formula 1, the one they all hated. It almost seemed like it made him drive better and reach a new level, particularly in 2013. And as a Vettel fan, it was oddly satisfying actually seeing Vettel win to the chorus of boos and criticism, knowing that he was just living rent-free in everybody's head at the time, and that just made his success so much more sweeter.
So freaking awesome, man. So freaking awesome. From blue to red.
However, out of the blue, everything suddenly changed seemingly overnight. After Vettel's shock move to Ferrari after getting beaten by newcomer Daniel Ricciardo at Red Bull in 2014, public opinion completely shifted on Vettel, and he very quickly became the most loved driver on the grid.
I was gonna ask why he would leave Red Bull after dominating 4 years straight. I was like, I didn't understand. Like, why would you leave? I know they didn't fire, they didn't let him go. I was gonna be like, why would you leave somewhere that you were dominant at? So Daniel Ricciardo just beat him. Like, he went to Red Bull, beat him that season, and Sebastian was just like, I'm out of here. I feel like he should have stayed.
The same fans that had once booed him on the podium in Monza were now his biggest supporters. But how did this happen so quickly? Now, many people might think that after leaving Red Bull, he became much more relaxed and changed as a person. And although I do think that played a part, I think it's very easy to forget that he's always been the comedian. Even at Red Bull, he was always messing around with other drivers, journalists, and just trying to have a laugh in press conferences. But when the pressure of winning and the hate that came with that came off his shoulders, I think the community started to appreciate him more and more for who he really was. We started to notice the funny interviews and the funny interactions with drivers and fans even more. He wasn't necessarily a new man at Ferrari, but we appreciated him as a person more, and the fact that he was the man bringing Ferrari back and fighting against the dominant Mercedes.
So it seemed like as soon as he wasn't winning, everybody loved him again, like, which is insane to me. Everybody got to see the personality that was, it seemed like, was there when he was Red Bull, but because he was so dominant, like, everybody chose to pick the things about his personality they could hate on. This is, I guess it's human. It's
so how did we get to where we are today? Why is Seb so much more loved now compared to his days at Red Bull? How can a driver in the space of less than 10 years go from being booed on the podium at every race and secretly kind of hated by the other drivers become the most loved man in F1 and even liked by the same drivers that once hated him? Well, in my opinion, that's a very easy answer. It's because he is not winning or dominating as much anymore. This is a bit of a dirty truth or a hidden reality in Formula 1 that fans will never want to admit to themselves, but they know in the back of their mind that when a driver is dominating the sport, a large part of the fan base tends to root against them. And this is something, by the way, that applies to all of the drivers that have ever dominated over the years in Formula 1.
It applies to all sports, bro. It applies to life, bro. When people are winning, they will root for you while you're losing and you're on the journey to become a winner. But once you become a winner, they root for your downfall. It applies to life.
Vettel is not the exception, but Seb is just the easiest example, especially with the growth of social media, because I feel like social media just amplifies everything that the fans are feeling, whether it's negative or it's positive as well. It's also where we see more and more of what the drivers are like outside of the cars, and now in 2020 and over the past few years, it's just become so easy to root for Seb because he is not only a great person, but his wins and his achievements feel more special because they don't happen as often as they did, and more often than not, they feel like a win for the underdog, and who does not love an underdog? Again, Vettel is just the example. When I started watching Formula 1 in peak Vettel dominance era, it almost felt the same like watching Fernando win, because winning in those mediocre Ferraris that weren't anywhere near as good as the Red Bulls, doing the impossible and taking them to title deciders, it felt like a win for the underdog, and in a similar way, they almost felt a little bit more special than when we saw Sebastian win. However, as far as the hate that Seb endured at the time, at first I never really understood it, but now over the years transitioning from Red Bull to Mercedes dominance, it's crystal clear that with winning and especially dominating a sport like Vettel did and Hamilton is doing now, it seems that the longer it goes on for, the more people are going to jump on the hate train and try to diminish both you as a person and your achievements with your team. To summarize, in a strange way making this video, I realized that many people who are huge Seb fans now probably wouldn't have been 10 years ago. It's very easy to say to yourself that you wouldn't have jumped on the hate train, but it's much more difficult to have that accountability and say to yourself, do you know what, I probably would have been one of those people that hated Vettel, but it's strange how things change over time. And I suppose the key point from this video and the key message I want to say is that don't be one of those people that hates on other people's success, both individual and within a team, because although you might hate the driver now for dominating, in a strange and kind of hypocritical way, you might find yourself liking that driver in the future once he is not dominating. So yeah, you know, hindsight is 2020 obviously, and it's very difficult to say what people would have been like now compared to, you know, 10 years ago, because again, just like with Sebastian Vettel, there were so many people that hated him 10 years ago, and now he's one of the most loved drivers on the grid, and in my opinion, rightly so. Well guys, there you go. That is my video looking at Sebastian Vettel. Now let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also let me know what did you think of the public perception and also the perception of the other drivers at Sebastian Vettel at the start of the previous decade during his Red Bull dominance. Now I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button to support the channel, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above, and guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.
No, I rock with that video. Yeah, like I said, that rule just applies to life, and people who love to see you on your journey to success, but once you reach the top, they'd love to see your downfall. That's all we got. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy D Neal, out.